Good morning, everybody, and welcome to your favorite show, Breakfast with the Deacons. I'm Deacon Derek Walcott, and it's wonderful to have you on. Hey, it's June, and we're back into ordinary time in the church's calendar. Thank you for watching on. This morning, as we always start with Pope Francis. And today's gospel is all about what? Salt and light. So Jesus asks us to be salt and light in the world. What is a pomsite without salt? What's a good mango chow without salt? It's tasteless. And you have to put a little bit of salt in our food for it to taste good. Not too much, but just enough. And Jesus calls us to be salt and light in the world. What does Papa Francis have to say? Here's Papa Francis. From my point of view, God is the light that illuminates the darkness, even if it does not dissolve it. And a spark of divine light is within each of us. A spark of divine light. There is light in each of us. Jesus lives in us. We are temples of that beautiful light. Let us shine and be light in the world today. Each of us has a part to play. Today, it is my extreme pleasure and honor to be with one of my mentors, Father Gervaise. Welcome to Breakfast with the Deacons.
Welcome.
Father, it is wonderful to have you. You just celebrated about a week ago, just over a week ago, it was on the 31st of May. Your golden Jubilee.
Yeah.
50 years of being ordained as a priest.
Yes.
Wow! That is incredible.
Yes.
Father, and I said today that he is my mentor. Oh, that's a big thing, we've got to look up to people who are lights and salts. And this guy was not like a dose of salt. He was the right kind of salt. A pinch of him was tremendous, and it also influenced your life. Father, thank you for being that wonderful influence in my life.
That's very much.
50 years of, they say 50 years, how do you feel?
I feel humble.
Yeah.
I feel thankful to the Lord for having chosen me and being so kind to give me 50 years so far working in his vineyard.
Yeah. So, but working in his vineyard, I heard that you had more than one vineyard. You had a couple vineyards?
Several vineyards. Several vineyards. Several vineyards.
If I were to ask you, which were some of the vineyards that you were happy to work in, what would you say?
The first one was Fatima College.
Fatima College.
When I arrived there, 1st of September, 1965,
wow.
I was named Dean of Form 1, 2, and 3.
What?
I knew nobody in the school. 1, 2, and 3. But I enjoyed that. I accepted it.
Yeah.
And Fatima was not first choice school in those days.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed building up the school towards today.
Yeah, yeah. So you... and part of the life you were Dean of Form 1, 2, and 3. What other activities you got involved with?
Yeah, but then after Christmas, Father Ryan, the principal, asked me to take over the scout troop.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was to call the leaders. I said, listen, we have to have a spiritual foundation.
Yeah.
So we have the group called Christophers. Not St. Christopher's, Christophers, which means Christ bearers. So the whole troop was based on Christ bearers. So every form had a meeting once a week.
Yeah.
Every boy would go to chapel once a day, visit the sacrament.
Yeah.
You had to say deck the rosary every day.
Yeah.
And different activities.
But I heard this scout troop became unbeatable. Unbeatable. No. I am Uncle Derek is from First Trinidad Sea Scouts. From I'm Father Kennedy. I'm a Father Kennedy boy. And they beat us.
First Fatima obliterated First Trinidad and Sixth Trinidad. I took over the scouts.
Yes.
And it was a dead troop. But for the first year, we won a chance to flag competition 5 years in a row.
Good God, I remember it.
Yes, 5 years.
Painful.
And then
the small school beating us, imagine that.
Exactly. Little sister school. Yeah. And then the regatta. Again, the first year, I was good at rowing, so we won the rowing. Everybody surprised, Fatima won the rowing. But then, for the next 10 years, we won the regatta for 10 years in a row. Why? Because of its strong spiritual foundation and the family spirit. that flowed from that, the family spirit, including parents, ancestors, a family spirit.
I don't know why I brought this man on television. I mean, he just brings back and invokes memories of getting a curtail from his sister school, beating us left, right, and center. How many years you all beat us?
10.
Oh, God. A handful, 2 handfuls of curtail. So you spent wonderful years at Fatima.
Yes.
Teaching them moral and spiritual values.
Yes, I was head of that department.
Yeah.
I taught Form 3
Yeah.
and Upper 6.
Yeah.
And Form 3 is really sort of an adolescent development program.
Yeah.
So we touched
Yeah.
everything, sexuality.
Yes.
But you know something? In those days, I was dean of Form 1 and 2,
Yeah.
sort of father figure.
Yeah.
So when I brought about sex, nobody even smiled. Everybody were very, very open.
Right.
Very natural, very open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in fact, when I was at Mary's College some years later, I couldn't even mention the word love. They're going crazy. Right?
What?
But not Fatima College. I was a father figure. So,
Yeah.
and very, very, very subdued.
You mentioned father figure. I just want to have a little testimony here by a wonderful young lady. And we're gonna talk about you talked about father figure. Now here is what somebody says. It says, Father Girod and I have a special father-daughter relationship. He has taken on the role of father figure throughout my life, being the father I never had. And this young lady grew up in St. Dominic's home.
So when I came back in 1977, I went to Boston College for a master's in education.
Yeah.
When I came back, I went to Dominic's home.
Yeah.
For 19 years.
You spent 19 years in St. Dominic's home?
Yes.
Wow.
And she was one of those, a very bright little girl. And she was kind of ostracized because she was bright.
Yeah.
So I got close to her.
Yeah.
She danced at my masses and so on.
Wow.
Yeah, yes.
But I was told also she calls you.
She's in London for the last 15 years.
She's in where?
In London.
What is her profession?
What happened when she left Sidonic School? I put her through A-levels at Corpus Christi College.
Wow.
And then I got her to England.
Yeah.
And she now has a master's in law.
Yes.
And every single Sunday evening for 15 years at 5 o'clock, time change or no time change, I get my phone call. Up to this Sunday.
Wow.
Every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock, Pamela calls me. And for half an hour, she speaks, I listen.
That is that is a beautiful testimony.
Yeah.
So you adopted this beautiful child, Pamela, and she says here, we have a special father-daughter relationship. He has taken on the role of father figure throughout my life, being the father that I never had. Your boy getting welling up a little bit in my eyes.
She's a true orphan. In Dominic's Hope, the problem is the rejected children.
Yeah.
They have hang-ups. She never had any hang-ups.
Yeah.
She's a true orphan.
Yeah.
She never knew her parents.
Wow.
So I was very...
And so, I know some daughters wouldn't even call their father once a month. You know what I mean? She calls you every single Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she tells me everything.
Oh my
Everything.
goodness.
Everything. Good or bad.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
To be able to share something, good or bad, it must mean that you're so open with that person, that you trust that person.
But that was across the board, eh?
Yeah.
Because I work at Holy Name and Providence.
Right.
And the girls are very articulate,
Yeah.
very open,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have that gift, thank God,
Yes.
I believe in affirmation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Affirmation and dialogue, listening. And
That's good news, eh? Affirmation and dialogue is good news.
yeah. So the family girls are very, very open to me. In fact, one girl for Christmas in one of the schools, Form 3 or so, Father, you know what? I come to you, I can tell you anything, and I know you will always love me. Wow. I tell you anything, as bad as you will always love me.
But I just
And
want
that touched me.
But let me tell you what touched me. You know, Father Girod and Lisa asked me to do the retreat for them for their youth group, and it was earlier this year in Tobago. So
That's St. Teresa's youth group.
St. Teresa's youth group. Like, he is the parish priest of St. For how long?
15 years.
Wow, 15 years. All your Holy Ghost fathers are easy, you know. So they asked me, Derek, could you do the retreat? Now, I have no problem with that because I'll do anything for Father. So I went up to Tobago and I spent a wonderful 4 days with these children.
And you are a father figure.
And I was, I tried to follow you.
Father figure.
I tried to, but you know what blew my mind is because I knew some of these children, but they weren't from St. Teresa's parish. They were from Diego Martin, Tunapuna, San Juan, Port of Spain. I said, but wait. I know you. I know your mother. How come you all are part of St. Teresa's youth group and you're not in Diego Martin, you're not in St. Anthony's, you're not in Tunapuna, you're not in San Juan? And you know what they told me? My mother told me, you know what I say? Your mother told you what? That if I had to belong to any youth group, I had to belong to Father Girod's youth group. I said, well, why did he tell you that? I mean, why did your mother tell you that? He says, because my mother went to Providence or Holy Name or Maria Regina. And therefore, you touched their lives so much that they basically said if they had to belong to any youth group, it had to be St. Teresa's.
Thank God.
That blew my brain out.
Thank God.
What was also really wonderful in that whole thing is that, Father, when I was praying with them, I just felt in my heart, Jesus just said, none will be lost. We were in the chapel
praise
praying,
God.
and
Praise
Jesus
God.
has said, you see this group of wonderful young people, none will be lost. And it was so precious because from their mothers gave birth to these children. They were touched and formed by this man who's celebrating 50 years as a priest. And the two things that I remember about him that I said at his Jubilee Mass was love and humility. And love and humility can only come from a deep spiritual life. Father Girod, I want to thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
You know?
Thank God.
Thank God. I remember too, I mean, my girls, you know, that's another thing I want to talk about too. How do you remember these children's names?
Love.
You know, that's another thing all the girls talk about. And you must have met thousands of young boys and girls throughout your life. And they all say, do you know that Father Girod remembers my name? I said, no way. How I can't even, sometimes I get confused with my own children. And I only have a couple of them, you know? And I call, sometimes my son, I call him Colin. Or I call my daughter Abigail. Those are all my sister's names, you know? And I said, no, Daddy, my name is Joshua. And you remember people's names.
Yeah.
That reminds me about John Paul II. John Paul II says, I remember everybody's names because when I encounter someone, I encounter Christ. So how could I forget their names? They're special.
Everyone is very special.
Everyone is very
And
special.
I'm very, very strong on that point. Yeah. I make sure they know that.
Well, they certainly know that because my girls know that.
With a quotation from Jeremiah. I've do not be afraid. I've redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. You are precious in my eyes. I love you. God talking to each and every one of us. You are precious in my eye. I call you by your name. You are mine. You are precious in my eyes. I love you.
Yeah, but it must take an incredible amount of discipline and love to remember people's names. To help them, I mean, Jeremiah says it clearly there for us.
Yes.
Now, we talked about one of the gardens, one of the gardens that you worked in, that was St. Dominic's for 19 years. We talked about Fatima. You were there, with how many years were you at Fatima?
25.
25 years, oh my goodness. 25 years at Fatima.
Yeah, 25 years.
Dean, Scoutmaster, you know, father figure, you know, religious education. What subjects you taught at Fatima?
French and English.
Parlez-vous
At
français?
first, mais oui,
Oh,
très bien.
straight.
Parce que j'ai étudié à Québec.
Oh my God. Any patois at all?
Non,
No patois.
français.
Français. Wow. And where did you get this love for language?
Well, I'm terrible in maths.
Yeah, yeah.
At O level,
Yeah.
I got distinction, etc., but a pass in maths. That was the best result, a pass in maths. I failed maths all through school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I know another Fatima boy like that, you know. Another Fatima boy like that is my brother, right? He failed math 5 times. 5 times he failed math. I'm talking at O levels. He has a master's degree. But for math, it was a struggle. You know, even when he had to go to university, they told me, you have to pass math, you know. And he sat O-level math 5 times before he finally got it. So you're built in that mold.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And my father was very good at maths.
Yeah, yeah.
Not me.
But you love the languages.
Yes, yes, yes.
Did you
I
talk?
prefer literature.
You prefer literature?
Of course, my first degree was French.
Yeah.
English literature.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Literature. Yeah.
Good. Well, you know, my name is Derek Walcott, so I had to be good in literature too. I was also very good in literature too. You know, I loved literature, loved reading.
Yeah.
You know, I remember sometimes going through the whole night. I have school the following day, but I can't put down the novel. You know, and you know, a Frenchman was also one of my favorite authors. You know,
Who's that?
Louis L'Amour.
Oh, right.
He's really a Western writer, but I love his Westerns. Provenance, Holy Name Convent. How did you get involved in that ministry?
I have been holding convent since 1966 because a young nun there, I just came back from a course in catechetics.
Yeah,
And as a young preacher right in Fatima,
Yeah.
she made me come holding convent.
Yeah.
Right? It's very interesting. I had to form 4s, including Denise Plummer.
Denise Plummer was one of your students?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in those days, the Form 6 classroom was downstairs where the library is now.
Yeah.
That I passed through there.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to talk to the upper 6 girls.
Yeah.
In those days, when the bell rang, everyone froze.
Yeah.
So I froze in the upper 6 classroom every Tuesday morning. That's how I met my first Holy Name girl,
Yeah.
Roland Defoe,
Right.
who is now the architect to the cathedral.
Wow.
And the first girl whose home I went to,
Yeah.
was Defoe. Today, unfortunately, her uncle died.
Yeah.
I have that funeral in Santa Cruz
So
this morning.
is this Father Defoe's, any relation to Father Defoe?
Cousin.
His cousin?
But I, Father June, have done all the Defoe marriages, funerals, celebrations, not Father Defoe.
Not Father Defoe.
I don't know why.
But
because you know why?
Why?
Because I met Ruthlin having frozen in this classroom in Holy Name every Tuesday morning.
But both of you guys were ordained on the same day.
Same day, yeah.
That is beautiful. What is the feast day on that day, by the way?
What?
What's the feast on May the 31st? What day we celebrate?
Visitation of Our Lady.
The visitation of Our Lady.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and both of you all ordained by Count Finbar Ryan.
I think the last ordination, I think.
The last ordination by
And poor
Count
fellow, anyway, out from the sacristy, tears flowing down his face.
Wow.
He probably realized it was the last.
Yeah, yeah.
We were both close to him, actually.
You all were both close then?
Yeah.
And you all were ordained under the Latin rite?
Yes. But I said my first 3 years in Ireland.
Yeah.
Then 2 years teaching at St. Mary's College.
Right.
Then, thank God, I got back to Quebec
Yeah.
with the new house on the campus of Laval University.
Yeah.
It was Vatican II.
Right.
So when I came down here, ordination, I was steeped in Vatican II.
Right.
And I didn't realize Finbar Ryan was with Ottaviani against everything Vatican II said. So when he called me to see him,
Yeah.
I expounded on Vatican II. When I left, every priest said, Giro, you're mad. that man is anti everything you talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, well, I am Vatican II.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And so, you know, being ordained under the Latin right now, you know, Father Defoe had me learning Latin, reminding me of what I left back because Father Finnegan taught me Latin in Form 1. So he was my introduction to Latin. And we had to go back and learn Latin for the Mass because he did the Mass in the Latin rite,
that's right,
you know.
yeah.
And he told me, you know, Derek, this is probably the first high mass in Latin since our ordination.
That's
It
right.
blew me away. I said, but that's 50 years ago. He said, yeah, 50 years ago. It was unbelievable to
But
try
I
and learn that.
will not tread that path. In fact,
Yeah.
the French are very forward-looking. So as soon as the document and the literature came out,
Right.
they had their translation for the Mass ready.
Right.
So in fact, I was ordained about 2 or 3 months after that.
Yeah.
So I never learned Mass in Latin.
Yeah,
I was saying Mass in French.
Right.
When I became a priest, I went back to Quebec to finish my studies.
Right.
And I was celebrating Mass in French, facing the people.
Yeah.
When I came back to Trinidad, I had a culture shock. Right?
I mean, how did you manage being a priest and they were still doing Mass in the Latin rite facing the altar?
I had a problem. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
I did my STB
Yes.
and STL,
Yeah.
degrees in theology. And I STB,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but John 23rd
Right.
said all studies in pontifical universities must be in Latin.
Yes.
So the last 2 years, all the lectures were in Latin,
Yeah.
exams in Latin,
Yeah.
and the final exam, preach, question you in Latin,
Yeah.
answering in Latin.
Yeah.
You know what?
What?
Humbly, I got summa cum laude.
You got summa cum laude?
In Latin.
In Latin?
But I could not do that now.
You realize that sitting down next to our brain, not only is the man humble and a father figure, but comma cum laude. In Latin?
I enjoyed my studies
Yeah.
because of Vatican II.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed my studies.
Go ahead. Scout leader, father figure, spiritual director, somebody who children come to in confession. They can tell you anything because my girls, listen, I'm going to say this on television because I can say it. You know, my girls will not go to receive Holy Communion if they don't go to confession. That blows me away, you know. And it is because of you, not me, because of you and what you taught them. Love
In
and
providence.
and how sacred the body of Christ is. Jesus is. That you have to be in a state of grace. They will not receive Holy Communion. You know, and sometimes I always know when they're given a little trouble. You know, when I see them, I say, how come they're not going to communion, boy? You know, and they're sitting down in the pew. I say, girls, we need to have a talk. Say, no, we only talking to Father Girod. I say, how you mean you could talk to your father? Say, no, we have another father we go to talk to. You know, so those are beautiful things. So, holy name. You're froze in the same time with Father Defoe's cousin.
That's right. Yeah.
Providence. I mean, I know about Providence.
Yeah.
You know,
But I began my confession in Providence.
Yeah.
In 1980s, 80s.
Yeah.
And then when I left at Fatima, I went to him more every week.
Yeah.
I became chaplain.
Yeah.
You know, like every week I go,
Yeah.
plus other occasions, you know, masses, etc. You know.
You know something people don't realize. These are all wrong there, you know. Come on, some loud, you know, scoutmaster, leading a troop to be #1, beating us for 10 years. All your St. Mary's boys, all your hearing this, they beat us for 10 years straight, you know. Not only that, too, confessor, friend. We heard from Pamela, her father, the father that she never had. But I hear you're a little bit of a sportsman, too. You used to play, football or something like that?
Cricket, yeah.
You used to play football and cricket?
Yeah.
But Giro's not known for sports?
I didn't get summa cum laude either.
But you were the captain of what?
Of the scout team.
Captain.
Marines for Toba Valdez. And for Toba Valdez is the reason why I am here today.
Father Toba Valdez.
All this priests at that time came from him.
Yeah.
Arthur Pantin, Jerry Pantin, Michel de Bette,
Right.
all. And I was the last one.
You were the last one.
The last one. And then years after Father Dick arrived,
Yeah.
I was the last of the bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, we need vocations. We need more priests. We need more religious. We need more nuns, you know, and the only way we can do that is if we guys and we, I would say, become mentors, just like you are a mentor. And I know that coming out from you, we've had wonderful people. Bishop Jason Gordon spoke about your influence in his life
Yes,
at your
he
Jubilee
grew with
Mass.
me from 12 to 18 years. He was with me.
From 12 to 18, he was. But you know, you didn't mention somebody else that was another, that he's another bishop too. Robert Lianos.
That's right.
That is another Fatima boy.
Fatima boy,
you
but
know?
I didn't have much to do with him.
You didn't have much to do with
in
him?
class,
Yeah.
as dean,
Yeah.
and in class. But he wasn't a scout.
He was just.
But Father Derek Anton was a scout. Father Derek Anton,
Yeah.
when I scout through.
And that's another one of your boys?
Yeah, Derek
Father
Anton.
Derek Anton. You also taught Bishop Robert Lianos, Bishop Jason Gordon.
And Matthew Duro. Yeah.
Father Matthew is one of your boys?
No, but Fatima boy.
You know, Father Matthew.
And Robert Christo.
Listen, all you listening to the kind of list that we putting out here, top guns in the church, you know. I'm supposed to get Father Matthew on because we're going to be talking about vocations later this month.
He's very involved in vocations.
He's very involved in
A
vocations.
fantastic priest.
Yeah, he is a wonderful, wonderful priest. His niece is my daughter's best friend. Both of them are your children, Providence girls.
Very
And when I
nice.
tell you, they're lovely. I mean, right now she's what, 20-something? She's still an altar server at St. Patrick's, you know, doing incredible work.
What's her name?
You don't know her name?
The twins?
Actually, her sister and her brother, right? But she is her name is Daniela.
Right. Yeah, I know
Right?
Daniela.
You know Daniela?
Oh, yes, I know Daniela.
When I tell you, sweet child. I mean,
Right,
they literally, either Sophie is by her or she is by Sophie or by us. I mean, when I tell you, beautiful children. I mean, I am amazed.
I meet Daniela every now and again.
Give me Daniela anymore. And that's Father Matthew's niece, you know, and really beautiful people. That Providence kind of influence. I'm a plugger here for Providence, and St. Joseph Convent, and Holy Name Convent, because my wife is from Holy Name. My wife is from Holy Name.
Oh, she has smart parents.
They threw me out of Holy Name, you know. You know they threw me out of Holy Name?
Oh.
Yes,
Why?
Sister Bernadette threw me out of Holy Name. You know, at St. Mary's College, last days, what we used to do.
Yes.
We used to go to the convents
right.
and terrorize them.
That's right,
And I rode into Holy Name Convent with a bag of colored water balloons. Water balloons filled with colored water to throw at the girls in Form 5. And Sister Bernadette came and said, "Young man, get out of my school." But both of us are great friends, you know. I love her to death.
No, Fatima boy should never do that.
Because all your sister school is the sister school. We are the real boys, you know. Always getting in trouble. You know, I told Father Defoe that too, because Father Defoe told me that my father and Father Defoe, they said they were best friends in school. They both went to Belmont Intermediate together, right? And right after Belmont Intermediate, they both went to St. Mary's. And he told me the pranks that the both of them used to play, you know, getting into terrible trouble. I said, well, how the dickens you became a priest? You know? And my father became a father. But Father G, let's talk a little bit more about you. Why that great love? I mean, it must come from somewhere. What was your family like? What were your parents like?
Very loving. My parents, I've never heard them quarreling.
Wow.
Always loving. Always loving. That was a big example in our home. Our home was a peaceful home. Fighting and so on. We had a very, very peaceful. 8 of us, but 6 in a row, including twins. In fact, a little boy running Savannah with my mother, "Madam, all of them is your children?" And poor me, yes. And then 4 years later, one came.
Yeah.
And then 6 years later, my brother Edward, the doctor, came.
Yeah.
So I was 18 years old in Form 6 in St. Mary's College.
Yeah.
My mother had him.
Wow.
But that's the first year St. Mary's lost his call.
Yeah.
He was born on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Saturday, the first year St. Mary's bought the call, my whole 10 years in St. Mary's.
Yeah.
But I had a little brother to go back home too, so I didn't mind.
Yeah.
You know, a little brother, just born.
People, we've just spent a wonderful time here with Father Gervaise, talking about his life and so on. It's encouragement for all of us. Breakfast with Deacons is all about good news. We want to thank you. See you again on Thursday. Thank you.